Welcome to Lies and Secrets channel. We hope you will have fun with us. Enjoy watching. Whenever she was alone, Sophia sought refuge in Arthur. The trips Jacob constantly made for business matters made his house lonelier, making it gloomy with each passing day to her. Arthur had grown more than just being a cute dog. His stares, the walks, and his mannerisms were an escape for Sophia from her solitary state. Time at home with Arthur was a way of escape for Sophia. Mostly in the evening when Jacob was away, Arthur would be by her side moving around the house, as if guarding every corner. Sophia didn't particularly take seriously this strange behavior that Arthur had. She thought that cute dogs sometimes behave strangely. As time went on, Arthur's actions started to hint to Sophia that there was more in his behavior. One day, Arthur reacted strangely to one of Sophia's friends who came over when the man entered the house. Arthur, usually friendly and calm, suddenly started growling and baring his teeth. Sophia couldn't understand the cute dog reaction for a moment. She felt tension, because she didn't understand what was happening. Her friend, however, thought it was hilarious and burst out laughing. While Sophia could not remove her gaze from the direction Arthur was growling at, his eyes hardened as if a threat was detected. Arthur was a sweet, cute dog, but to Sophia he increasingly felt like some sort of protector, one meant to drive away any loneliness that came her way whenever she found herself alone at home. Every day Jacob spent away brought better equilibrium to his feelings of loneliness versus the company of Arthur. Arthur acted protectively, as if his instinct to do so drove him. Yet she didn't believe it was typical pet-to-owner attachment they were experiencing together. One weekend, Sophia decided to go out for a coffee in the morning. Before leaving, she wanted to make sure Arthur was comfortable, usually spending every moment with Arthur. Sophia felt a slight desire to be alone for a short while and left the house briefly. But when she returned, she noticed something odd. The door was left open. Arthur was standing alone in the kitchen, his gaze sharply fixed as if watching everything inside. Sophia approached him with a slight sense of unease, but Arthur seemed to be aware of something more. While far away she saw Arthur treated more differently than ever. He was more protective, especially when men were around. Couldn't help but think Arthur's gaze was unusually sharp. How can a cute dog understand that a man reached him was a bad thing? But it seemed that Arthur knew everything. He not only protected, he also watched. Sophia began to be more aware to understand what was behind Arthur's behavior. When Jacob returned home, he noticed Arthur barking, because he usually was before coming into the house. Arthur felt Jacob's presence before he saw her. Jacob will always be calm before he saw him, but when the breath was out, Arthur's protective behavior became even clearer. Later that day, Arthur looked restless, eager to see all the people around Sophia and her. What do you think attracted his attention? On which footsteps were it notified? When Awa began to feel Arthur's quickly spontaneous behavior, he tried to understand what the cute dog looked like. His eyes looked cold, more vigilant. It was less like a only cute dog behavior, and more like a guardian, a janitor, a supervisor. Sophia felt that she learned more by looking at the cute dog, but there is doubt Arthur was just a cute dog or something else. Sophia, who tried to understand the meaning behind Arthur's weird gaze and behavior, began to be surprised at what the cute dog is to hide from him. Arthur was already much higher from the time when Jacob was away from home, and Sophia was something known about it. But he needed more time to understand what it meant fully. In recent days, Sophia felt quite restless inside the house. Arthur's behavior had grown stranger with each passing day, but the feelings she experienced lately surpassed these actions. She felt as if she was being watched every moment. Arthur seemed to know something, observing her every move with his eyes. He was doing much more than what was expected of a cute dog. Sophia watched his every move, following the cute dog with her eyes, feeling a mix of curiosity and fear. Arthur was particularly strange at night. That evening, Jacob was away again, left him alone. As usual, he had dinner with Arthur, and then decided to watch a film, but the film left the spirit of face-to-face from inside. The silence of the night was only returning out by Arthur. He was standing through the door, but this time something strange. He was growing. It was as if someone was there, but she could not see anyone. She was afraid to open the door. Maybe it's something else, she thought. But her feelings were alone at home every moment. Awa had recently felt very uncomfortable to be alone at home. Yes, Arthur was there, but this loneliness and strange comments pulled her inside. He felt that he was watching every moment, but was it due to the cute dog's appearance or something else? He did not get a clear answer. As she scanned every corner with her eyes, she started thinking that everything was somehow connected. Arthur was like that silent guardian at night before going to sleep. She will direct her gaze in every corner of each room, carefully looks at every door, every window, every dark corner as they can pose a threat. Awa felt that he had completely trusted Arthur's security. Jacob's idea of returning from his business trip became a source of restlessness for him. Emotional voids had increased. Arthur was always calm when Jacob's house was. But remembering at home that night, Sophia had to face a feeling, as if someone was thinking deeply about him. His inner emptiness intensified the desire to join someone else. She began to feel that things would be different with someone. She did not know it was a desire that Sophia had suppressed for a long time, but recently. Take it he sees everything. Sophia was momentarily confused. Who had sent this message? How could someone claim to know everything? Arthur observed. Fear and surprise mingled within her. Maybe she had misunderstood. Perhaps it was a joke or something else. But the message reminded her of something familiar, Arthur's gazes. Yes, it was as if he saw everything. But this went beyond that. Sophia had somehow taken this message seriously. Why was it so strange? Who was this person? She didn't recognize anyone. But as soon as she received the message, she was thrown into emotional turmoil. Was Arthur really just a cute dog or something else? It sparked more questions than answers for Sophia in the message. It didn't act as just another cute dog. Or perhaps Arthur had the secret. Somehow that night while she was trying to work out for herself the message, the emotional void deep inside began to work up against a very hidden desire. Was there something more than the cute dog that Arthur knew? Sophia felt that the cute dog was watching her every moment. But at the same time she was experiencing a subconscious struggle with the awareness of someone else. Here is something that is missed by everyone. But Sophia blends well into the void inside her. Who was this, and how exactly did this person tie in with the rest of the world? The very careful eye of Arthur looked upon pondering the message closely. Sophia would hope at this moment that all would be well with her home, because it began to unravel, that unsettled feeling, which threatened all things secure within it. That message further reinforced her guess that Arthur had more going for him than just being a cute dog in time. The chasm within Sophia only deepened more. Without Jacob, that inner absence mixed with an overwhelming loneliness, urging her increasingly to want to feel close. The message of the unknown number now lay fresh in her mind. Arthur's careful watch over every moment began making her question her heart more and more. This day was to make Sophia look closer and more seriously onto Arthur's behaviors. Coincidence, or did the cute dog really know something? One evening, Sophia walked into Charlie, her old friend who worked as a repairman close to their house. The relationship between Sophia and him was not a long one, but she talked a lot with him, finding it quite warm and breezy. Charlie seemed all jittery towards the work and kept talking. However, Sophia totally missed it, and still felt like having a bond with him. That was the first time Arthur saw Charlie out, and was really quiet. Although his eyes seemed to follow every move, he just remained silent. Sophia too brought down Arthur as usual and resumed talking. Sophia, who wanted to spend the night alone, decided to get to know Charlie a little better. After a while she invited him over. Arthur behaved strangely towards this man. Unlike other people in the house at first, he patiently and quietly watched Charlie with his eyes. Sophia thought this was just the cute dog being wary of a stranger, but she slowly realized something was off. Arthur's gaze intensified, carefully watching Charlie's movements. Things quickly turned strange after the night slowly wore on. Arthur stood up all too suddenly, creeping towards Charlie, while attacking in the manner of some guttural threatening growl and bark. But it wasn't just the growl that sounded fierce. It was also the nature of such an expression. In one dark rage, Charlie turned more shocked and stepped back, gazing at Arthur. Sophia was alarmed at this sudden change in attitude by the cute dog. Arthur's very reaction was bizarre. To say the least, he had never been like this before. aggressive with somebody. It was entirely unfamiliar behavior. Sophia attempted to soothe Arthur. But all this time the cute dog had lost it. He lunged at Charlie. All of a sudden, Sophia had no option left but to lock the cute dog up firmly in the room. With Arthur barking inside from the other end, a complete silence fell between Sophia and Charlie. Sophia was unable to grasp whatever was momentarily happening. What did Arthur's reaction suggest? Charlie felt the situation to be strange, with a confused stare of mixed surprise and fear in his eyes. The feeling of restlessness struck Sophia. She found herself emotionally more inclined to Charlie now than ever, and growing to be unsafe, she inferred, was quite on spot when Arthur warned her now. Charlie felt it was time to leave, but Sophia had come to understand, not wisely, that the very idea of staying alone that night filled her with a strange fear. Somehow she didn't feel alone in the house, a fact she was strangely becoming accustomed to. After Arthur left the room, she felt Arthur watching her. In point of fact, that night there was never a single moment that she could spend before going to bed without imagining Arthur somewhere looking at her. That night as Sophia tried to sleep, something strangely changed. Arthur, who had never done this before, went to the room before the door and silently growled until the early hours of the morning, suggesting that something was wrong. She had hoped everything would be normal after Charlie left the house. But that night she realized she wasn't alone in the house, that something else was watching her, whisper, scanning every corner with her eyes. Sophia noticed Arthur looking inside through the door again with a strange feeling. But this time Arthur was very calm, as if focused on something. Sophia suddenly realized that the cute dog's attentiveness was not just about protecting her. Arthur was telling her something with every move, but Sophia didn't know what it was. And at that moment she began to feel strongly that something in the house was being watched. In the past few days, Sophia had begun to pay closer attention to Arthur's actions. When Charlie arrived at the house, the cute dog's rage seemed to be a warning that something wasn't right. Even though Arthur didn't hurt her, there was a threat visible in his eyes. There was more to this threat than a cute dog's instinct. Sophia made the decision to closely observe Arthur's every action. Was this man someone she actually knew? Stranger still, why was Arthur's reaction so intense? Another question came to Sophia's mind, then Jacob. It had been weeks since her husband had returned home. For weeks, Jacob, who had developed the habit of leaving his phone unchecked in the mornings before heading to work, had abruptly vanished. Sophia tried to do something helplessly, but every time she called, she only got an empty response. It wasn't normal for him to disappear for so long. There was no message, no phone call from her husband, whom she hadn't heard from for so long. But there was a strangeness. There were expenses from Jacob's bank accounts. She thought all these things couldn't be a coincidence. After all, her husband wouldn't do something like this. One evening, while preparing dinner in the kitchen, something caught her attention. Charlie had left the house a short time ago, but as she sat at the kitchen table, something fell to the floor as if time had stopped. For a moment, Sophia picked up the watch from the floor and froze. For a moment, the watch belonging to Jacob had fallen from Charlie's jacket pocket. Her heart started beating fast. She remembered how well that watch suited Charlie, but this hadn't been enough time to cover up the truth. Now there was one more watch and one more coincidence. Was it all interconnected, or was there more to the truth behind her husband's disappearance? Sophia felt scared and suspicious as she realized that everything was connected. There should be some relation between Arthur's reactions and the disappearance of her husband. She decided to analyze this discovery in detail that night. She was convinced that his eyes still hid something. Sophia had been trying to figure out Arthur's reactions for weeks, but she just couldn't find the right answer. Especially the behaviors he had shown when her new boyfriend Jacob picked up his scent were getting more confusing with each passing day. Every time Arthur tried to approach the man, as if trying to protect him in some way. At first, Sophia had thought it was just the cute dog being the good protector cute dog. However, every day passed by making Sophia suspicious. Or was Arthur just trying to protect her boyfriend? Jacob's disappearance has made Sophia question everything in her mind. But at that one moment when she realized that Jacob wasn't home, these behaviors of Arthur couldn't be explained. Is Jacob really out on a business trip, or is all that happening The effect of some hidden truth of her missing husband? Are Arthur's overly protective behaviors just a cute dog's instinct? Or does he know something? One night, as Sophia fell into a deep sleep, she saw a silhouette in her dream. The silhouette was Jacob screaming and shouting. The dream deeply affected Sophia. In the dream, Arthur also appeared. Strangely, Arthur was standing in front of a room's door watching the silhouette, continuously pacing inside the room. Waking up from the dream, Sophia was chilled to the bone. Arthur seemed to be trying to tell her something. The next morning, Fetus, even more concerned, began to inspect the area around the house. When she went to the garden, she noticed that Arthur was continuously centered in one place, the base of an old tree. He approached quickly and examined the area where the cute dog was centered. Without understanding what it was, he saw that the earth looked different. The place Arthur had aroused Sophia's attention. When he realized something was wrong, he began to dig. As soon as he dug deep into the earth, he met a shocking truth. Many things, clothes, and some old things from Jacob were held there. But the really shocking part was that these objects had fallen into over time died Jacob a while ago. At that time, the eyes of them are wide and scary. All Arthur's reactions were proof that her husband had actually disappeared. But even more awful that Arthur had noticed all this. Sophia finally learned the secret that Arthur had known for years. Jacob's disappearance was more than just a simple phenomenon. Arthur, with each step and every emotional change, tried to guide Sophia by protecting him. Now Sophia will be unforgettable at night, and will again realize how deep Arthur had a tape in the eyes. What really happened? Sophia is now chasing not only a missing husband, but also a missing life. My story ends here. If you feel that this story is meaningful and brings useful lessons, please like and subscribe to the channel to support me. Thanks for listening, and see you in the next videos.